Alrighty, so it seems like a lot of you guys are still asking for Festival of Battles help, and in today's video, what we are going to be doing is answering the question of what are the best teams for the Festival of Battles as of December of 2025. Now, we've recently been hit with an addition to the sort of best festival lineup, and that is going to be LR Goma. But with LR Goma, we'll be getting to this a little bit more in specific as the video goes on, but there are going to be a few things that come down to factors for him as of why I don't think he is just the #1 unit for the Festival of Battles. So do keep that in mind as we go through. Is Goma the best unit in the game overall? Probably, but for the Festival of Battles, a very specific situation, I think that there is a question of whether or not he is. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to leave a like before you go. And if you need help with the gameplay portion of the Festival of Battles, I would refer to you my guide that I made earlier in the year, where we went through a full run. There is that, and then there's also a more condensed version that's about 45 minutes or so that will be telling you how to go through that event, and then the last few phases of gameplay will be shown in that. So in this video, we are going to be covering a team that I use that is just for an easy clear, and then we are going to go over ones for the specific missions, and at the end, we'll throw in a bonus version for the no item run if you want to do that as well. So with all that being said, don't forget to leave a like before you go, and if you enjoy Dokkan guides like this, don't forget to subscribe as well, as we do these videos every single day. So let's go ahead and get started with the first team, which is going to be the one that you want to use if you are just looking to clear the Festival of Battles and nothing else, right? You are just trying to get your first clear. You've been struggling with that and you cannot get it done. This team is the STR Blue Boys variant of the setup, and it is primarily going to be done via Fused Fighters and Future Saga. So if we go to Fused Fighters and then Future Saga and then set it to the partial match, which if you guys don't know, gives you category units on both of the teams, not just or that can only fit on just one of the teams and not both. So that way you can get as many characters on the team as possible. This is the setup that you want to do if you were just struggling and you cannot beat the Festival of Battles and you just want to get your first clear. The first character that I recommend is going to be STR Blue Goku and Vegeta. That should be pretty self-explanatory. And then the second character is going to be Physical Goku and Vegeta from Super Saiyan 4 from GT. This is also going to be an extremely valuable character later in the run, a unit that you want to put on rotation. We'll be going over that here in a moment when we build the team. The next characters are going to be Tech Vegito as well as AGL Gogeta, and then I mention a character that you probably may not be thinking to put on the team, but you probably should, is going to be the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Now, this is going to be made up for with the fact that Super Saiyan 4, or Super Saiyan Blue, Trunks, and I don't know why I'm saying it like that, Vegeta and Trunks are going to be able to make up for this. So the last character you're going to put on the team is going to be Vegeta and Trunks. Now, with this team in specific, it is very, very simple to get a clear, especially if you are using attack up items. So items like Bulma, this is going to make this extremely easy for you. Now, the setup for this team in specific is extremely, extremely simple. What you want to do is have a rotation of Trunks and Vegeta with Tech Super Vegito for the entire run, right? You want to get Vegeta, the Tech Vegeta portion to around 2.5 to 3 million defense, and then you can let Trunks and Vegeta stack them for the rest of the fight. That is going to be one rotation that stays concrete. And then your other rotation is going to be the Super Saiyan 4s with AGL Super Gogeta, specifically the Goku portion, to get the defense where it needs to be. And then once their defense is around that 3 million range, you're going to float them off and put the STR Blue Boys on rotation with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, or you're going to put him with the 4s. With the Super Saiyan 4s and then the STR Blue Boys. That is going to be your rotation. So this way, the Blue Boys can build their attack and also be stacked up via Trunks and Vegeta. So this team is extremely easy to win the Festival of Battles with. The one suggestion that I would have for you guys, though, is that you want to have Trunks and Vegeta in slot 2 for a good majority of the fight until you get around the 2024 portion, around Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Goku. That's usually where you want to put Vegeta or Tech Goku in slot 2, and that way Trunks and Vegeta are basically going to be invincible, right? But the problem with Trunks and Vegeta, not because this isn't a reason to take them off, but if you keep them in slot 1, they are simply going to be doing too much damage, right, in that slot 1, so you're not going to be able to build up Tech Vegeta fast enough, and it can just lead to some complications during the run. So if you are just looking to clear, in my opinion, this is probably the easiest team to get the job done with. This one ends up being extremely, extremely simple because of the fact that Trunks and Vegeta do just make things very easy. Now, I do believe this mission is also taking care of a superclass mission at the same time, but I am double checking on that for you guys as we're talking here. But with this team in specific, the big factor with this team is when you get to the Daima phase, transforming or swapping into Vegeta on the STR Blue Boys portion, this is going to be extremely important because you're going to tag into this Vegeta and then do the active skill to Glorio. And if you do this properly, it should, if you have like the Blue Boys on the same rotation, you'll put Vegeta slot 3, link him up with Blue Goku, and then you swap and do the same thing again for both of them. Glorio should become trivialized, right? Like he is no longer going to become a part of the run anymore. He's extremely easy. And then the Daima phase is essentially just all in on Super Saiyan or on Daima Goku, right? So that is very easy to deal with. Obviously, much easier than things that we have seen in the past. But for the Festival of Battles mission, I have to just pull this up specifically. We are looking for Super STR, Super Physical, and Super Int. So this is also going to be taking care of that portion of the mission. So not only is this just the clear mission, this is also going to be very good for the clearing of that super class mission as well. So this team, a lot easier to use than the extreme class portion. You guys know at this point how the extreme class mission is. That's one of the most infamous in the game. We're going to be talking about that here in a moment. But this is like the easy mode team where if you really are struggling, I would recommend running something like this. Obviously, you would want to use your fusion against Gogeta, right? So what typically like an ideal run is that you fuse into Vegito against Gogeta, and then you're able to like one turn to kill Gogeta in 2 turns, and then you taunt against Tech Vegito, and then you should be good to go. Super counters with physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. You guys kind of get the idea. So this team right here, extremely, extremely good. Again, your rotations are Tech Vegito with Trunks of Vegeta, and then the physical 4s with AGL Gogeta until their defense is stacked, and then you put the Blue Boys on rotation. I promise you, this is going to be the easiest way to run the Festival of Battle setup. I have gotten multiple clears with this one without having to like try super, super hard. This is a very good setup. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the extreme class things now, or the extreme class setup. Now, this one, I will admit, is going to be a little bit trickier than the last one, but there are going to be multiple ways that you can set this up. The problem with Extreme Tech is or Extreme AGL is you have to have some very specific characters. So here is one way that we can do it in order to set this up. I'm going to give you as many possible team builds for the extreme class mission as I possibly can in this video. So hopefully one of these can work for you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first way that you can do this is via a hit team. Now, the hit team is a little bit tricky to set up, but it can end up working out pretty well for you. So your leader is going to be our boy Hit, and then we need to get Extreme Tech and then Extreme AGL. So for Extreme AGL, we are going to be running our boy Goma, but you could also run a different setup. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. And then for Extreme Tech, you obviously want to bring this Broly. So these 3 characters are going to take care of most of the mission for you. But the problem is we still need to continue to set this up. So what we need to do is go over to Accelerated Battle. I just need to remember which one that is down here. You guys know we do play on the Japanese version, so it's kind of tough to remember all this stuff. But with Accelerated Battle, right, the main setup that we want here is going to be this version of Gogeta right here. And then we are also going to want to bring the physical Super Saiyan 4s. This is also going to be an extremely good setup for them in the 4s, in the sense of like they're going to be on rotation. They're going to be dominating for most of the fight. And then I will just pull this up here over on the wiki side of things while I'm talking to you. But with Accelerated Battle here, of course, it was right next to the one where I thought it was. But when we look at this team in specific, there are multiple ways that we can go about this, but what you probably want to do is bring our boy Tech Vegito. So with Tech Vegito, this is going to be a solid setup for you here, right? Now, when it comes to rotations, this one is going to be a little bit more awkward, but something along the lines of like Broly with Vegito could typically work, and then maybe like the 4s with Goma, and then you float off Hit and stuff like that. This is typically like, this is a way that you can run this specific team, and it can work out, right? I think that for the extreme class mission, you could potentially do this, and these are going to be your 3 best hitters in terms of Extreme Int, Extreme AGL, and Extreme Tech. Now, you might be saying, Vilify, I do not have Goma. So that's okay. But what we can do, and maybe you don't have Hit either, we can run a different variant of this setup and it is still going to work, right? And there are going to be alternatives for each typing. So the next thing that we are going to be looking at mainly is going to be a pure Saiyan sort of setup. So we're going to go here, and then we are going to put as our main leader, our boy Vegeta. Now, an alternative for Extreme AGL. This is what I would do. If you're struggling with Extreme AGL, if you have Super Easy A Majin Vegeta, I would recommend that you could run him. And then if you don't have him either, and this is again like a backup, if you will, a third option, a character that you can look for, if I could remember how to navigate Dokkan here, is going to be Dirty Fireworks Vegeta. Now, Dirty Fireworks Vegeta works out very well. This is an extremely good character for the Festival of Battles, as he is very orb reliant for his defense, and you don't need to stack him to like a super, super high number for him to be efficient. Usually in a case where you feel scared, a Whis item will make do for you. Right. So those are going to be like your three main options. And also keep in mind, Goma is on this setup as well for successors. So if you want to go to Extreme AGL, you can run this right here. Now we need to be worrying about Extreme Tech. So there are going to be a few options that you can run here. One option is going to be Golden Frieza and Gogeta. When you have him, he's going to be able to dodge when you're in the Gogeta portion. He's going to be a decent floater who can be made up for with like a damage reduction item. This is going to typically work out for you. The next thing is going to be obviously this Broly, right? We've talked about him. He is an elite option. We know how good this character is, and he can definitely work for you in this fight. He is one of the best units in the game for the Festival of Battles. Number one, in my opinion, being Tech Super Vegito. Now, some of you may be thinking that Goma is the king of the Festival of Battles, but I'm going to disagree for one reason, and that's going to come down to one core mechanic of the game, and that is going to be critical hits. A 700 million attack stat is all fine and dandy, but if it doesn't crit, you're just simply not doing enough damage in these ending phases, right? Where this is a character who can definitely hold it down for you, but supers from the last phases could become a little bit of a problem for this guy. So he is incredible. I really like this unit. I think he's the best unit in the game right now, but for the festival, I simply think Broly is better. I think the physical fours are better. I think Tech Vegito is better, just for the fact that these characters can, I think Trunks and Vegeta are better, just simply due to the fact that they can tank, right? I think that's just going to be more important. Now, Tech Vegito obviously isn't going to be able to face tank things unless you run it properly, but there are easy ways to kind of deal with things with Tech Vegito, and they just put out way too much damage because of the crits. Broly's going to have guaranteed crits. The physical fours, their counter is going to be hitting harder than the number says on the screen, so just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to Extreme Int, this is where things do get a little bit dicey. I think that a really good option, and one that's kind of slept on, is going to be this Goku and Frieza. When you tag into Goku and grab a Rainbow Orb, the only time where you're going to need to be like super concerned about them is the Daima phase. That's where you need a Whis, and you can work around that, right? So that's going to be a good alternative for Extreme Int here. But something else you could potentially do, like I've seen people run Int Broly next to the Tech Broly. I'd probably stay away from that, but he does have a revive. He can work. That is another option. And for now, what we will do is I will run a setup like this. I think that this setup could potentially work out pretty well for you. Now that you have that set up, what you're going to want to do is put some other characters on the team. You probably want to run the physical fours, and then you could run Tech Vegito, and this team is going to work out very well for you as well. So this team, again, can potentially work out for you in a really good way for the Festival of Battles, and that is sort of how you want to build teams depending on the mission. So there you guys go. I hope you did enjoy. Let me know down below what setups you guys are running. For the bonus sort of no item strategy, I guess we can go over this really quickly. What you want to do is you want to take some of these units off here. So we do something like this, we do something like this, and then we keep like this core 4, and then for the no item, what we want to do is bring Kid Goku. I think Kid Goku is very good for the no item, and then we bring the physical 4 or AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku as well, and that this is sort of the team I would run if I was looking to no item the handy dandy Festival of Battles. Something like this would probably be what I would do for the no item, and then I would run a rotation of like Vegito and Broly, right? And then like maybe the Super Saiyan 4 Goku floating, and then like Vegito and the 4s, and then we just wouldn't worry about Vegeta's defense, and I would do something like that. So let me know down below what team you guys are running for the Festival of Battles. Have you cleared? Have you done all that fun stuff down below? I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new so that we don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.